Hello, Aligned Minds, and welcome back to the 53rd episode of Voice Within. It's been 1 year. Tomorrow I am celebrating 1 year of existence of my podcast, and I'm actually very happy and very proud at myself that I haven't missed a single episode for 1 year. Not when the life was heavy, not when the kid was sick, not when I was tired. I still managed to show up every Sunday, and I'm quite proud of myself and happy. And this journey, this platform was such a place of joy and fulfillment for me, the place where I share my experience, my knowledge, my embodiment with the world. Sometimes it's scary. You record it and you let it in the world and you are not sure where it's going to end up. But most of the time it's very enjoyable experience and something which really fulfills me. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for dedicating your time to this podcast and for dedicating your time to yourself and investing in your head, listening something valuable, choosing for 1 year to show up for something which means to you. So today I celebrate you, I celebrate myself, and I celebrate our persistence to improve and to be better for ourselves, our families, our communities. And when I was thinking about how did I actually do it? How did I actually manage to stay consistent for 1 year? Because honestly, 1 year, it's a long time. It's 53 weeks with the life, with the chaos, with everything what is happening. One mom from sometimes living room, sometimes bedroom, sometimes floor of the bedroom, sometimes on ironing table, every week manage to show up for something which means to her. And when I was trying to give myself answer, how did I actually do it? I actually realized that I built a system. I didn't leave it to a chance that sometimes maybe I will miss my podcast episode. From the beginning, I didn't wait for inspiration or that time for my podcast magically appears. From the beginning, I designed the structure around the podcast, when I record, how I edit it, when does it goes out, how much time I need. On the beginning, I would write the notes and prepare during the week what I'm gonna say. Now, actually, everything is going more smoother because I stretch my capacity to deliver my voice and my message. But I was building the structure from the beginning to prepare myself to be devoted to something that I promised myself to be devoted to. And the more I looked at it, the more I was trying to understand, I realized that it's not just how I recorded it. It's not just how I set it up, the system. It's how I actually lived it. And my whole life is designed in this way. My whole life is designed inside of some structure, not in some rigidity or control, but all of my life and everything around me, my environment, is built with intention. That's a kind of frame that is holding me, a structure that supports my energy and that supports my clarity and my dignity. And this is what we're going to talk today about in this podcast episode, because for this 1 year episode, the celebration, I was thinking what would be very useful for you to hear, what value I can provide you through this podcast episode this week. And I realized that the best example I can give you is how I actually live my life, how actually I'm structuring my life, and most probably you will find something for yourself inside of this podcast episode. The kind of structure that I have in my life is the structure which doesn't suffocate you. It kind of protects you. Everything is built in a way to protect my energy. My structure in my life regarding is it my podcast or is it my kitchen or is it my motherhood is the structure that holds my life steady. So I don't keep breaking and collapsing while doing all the things that the life is requiring me to do. So this week I was thinking a lot about structure in comparison with my podcast episode and how can I deliver you and explain you how I actually do it, because for me it is natural state of being. It's something who I am, it's the way I live, it's the way I think. I segregate everything in the boxes. I see my life in the steps. I usually think 5-6 steps ahead before they even happen. Not that I am negative or that I am thinking what could happen, what could go wrong, but I am preparing ahead to minimize friction, to make it easier for myself. And I've been thinking a lot about the structure of my life, but not in the usual way how the people usually think. Not as something which is rigid, something which is prison, because structures of my life, they give me a lot of freedom, but there is a frame which keeps everything in place. And I'm talking about structure as protection of my dignity, protection of my sanity sometimes in the motherhood, something that actually is saving me. And I think most of the people, they resist structure because they kind of associate it with control, with if I'm living inside of the structure, then I'm like a robot. I don't have control over my life. I don't have freedom. Usually people see structure like pressure. They see it like performance. They see it like a lack of expression. But for me, honestly, the structure is exactly opposite, everything from that. Structure for me is something that is giving me space. Structure is something that is protecting my dignity. Structure for me is that something that prevents me from collapsing, exploding in a moments of life when it's heavy, when I feel emotional, when I feel overwhelmed. And when you think about it, all of the mothers, they enforcing routines for their children. Bedtime routine, mealtime routine, changing routine. And where did we got it from? We basically got it from, I would dare to say, psychology, which is telling us that the children, when they have routines, they have predictable steps, so they resist them less. They feel more safe when they know what is happening. And I have experienced this with my son. He had all of the possible routines, and I never had frictions with him. I had almost no tantrums with him while he was toddler, while he was baby, because I was continuously enforcing the same steps, same moves, which were giving him safety in the first place. And to be honest, I have implemented the structure in my life, in my home, in a way that is supporting me. And even in my motherhood, when I was building the routines for my son, I was always building them with consideration to his needs, but with consideration of what actually is supporting my motherhood journey. What does it making it easier for me to execute everything what I'm supposed to do? So everything in my life is designed to protect my time, is designed to protect my energy, is designed to protect my nervous system. Yes, friction still happen. Yes, we are all humans, and still mistakes happen, loss of patience happens, but most of the time, I would dare to say maybe 95% of the time, the structures that I designed around my life are protecting my time, my energy, and my nervous system. And it's not because I am collapsing or I was collapsing in my life and then I realized I need structure, I need to change something. I always lived like this. I was just not aware that most of the people, they don't live like this until I went in the journey of personal development, and then I realized that most of the people, they don't live like that. Most of the people do the task after task. They go day by day without any kind of order. But for me, this is my way. It's basically, I could say I move with design. Let me give you a few examples so you can feel and understand what I'm trying to tell you. So our house has 3 floors, and when I need to go to the second floor or take something on my second floor, I will never go just to take that thing on the second floor. I will leave it in the corner on my steps if it's not mandatory and priority to take it on the second floor. I will leave it on the steps, and then when I'm usually going on the second floor, I will take it together. Or in reverse, when I'm upstairs and I have things that belongs downstairs, I don't just take them and I don't walk down many times to bring something down. I leave them again on the stairs, and when I go down, I take them with me. And it sounds very small, not a big deal, but actually it's not. It's pure energy preservation. And over time, when you accumulate it in your days, it really matters, especially if you have smaller children, if you have toddlers in the house. This same system I was using when my son was small. I was never executing the task after task. Neither I was piling them up, but I always preserve the energy, and compound them so I execute them faster. If I take example of my kitchen is organized in a way that supports me to cook meals very quickly. Everything I need is basically within a reach. And the flow that I made in my kitchen, it makes sense. The forks, the spoons are next to the cooker, the bowls are under, the pots are next to it. Everything goes very smoothly and very quickly that when I'm cooking, I'm able to prepare the meals within 20-30 minutes and I don't lose time, neither I lose energy because I already prepared my space for cooking to support me. There is a system for me in the way how I move in the house, how I live my life. When I eat, when I wind down, when I'm getting ready for the day. And it sounds like it's rigid, but actually it's not. It's just the build-up routine of the life which we all follow, which makes it way, way easier for all of us. And when the friction happens, when the plans change, when kid is sick and it's at home, or we just want to do something different that day, we let it go. We let go the structure. But at the same time, the next day, we are very quickly to come back. And this also helped me a lot with my son because whenever we are traveling, I enforce same structure and same routines even inside of the hotel bedroom. I prepare immediately the same setup in the toilet, for example, for the showering, for the bedtime. I prepare everything to basically copy the way we are doing it at home. And this was very helpful when he was very small. When we would travel, he was not resisting new space because I would prepare it to be very familiar for him. And then we just execute and do the routine in the same way. So it's not like military style of the structure. It's not rigid, but it has a rhythm. And that rhythm, for me, it's something that is saving me from wasting my energy and wasting my time. For me, I don't find freedom in chaos. I find it in clarity. I find it in organization, in structure. And this is what I wish that more mothers would understand. Mothers usually create perfect structures for their children, like I said. They create bedtime, snack time, read time, all of these routines, but they don't create those routines for themselves. They usually celebrate routines for their children like it's a badge of honor. My child goes to bed at 7:30 and I prepare this kind of food for him and I cut the carrots in the shapes of bunnies, but they are not preparing the structure for themselves. And then what usually happens, they say, I don't have time for workout, I don't have time for myself, I don't have time for the things which are fulfilling me. But basically, how could you have time when you didn't put yourself to be part of the structure, part of the routine, when you didn't even plan to have time for yourself? And if you ask those mothers about routines, about their meals, about their sleep, about their movement, everything is in chaos, everything happens around everybody else. When everybody finish and got what they need, this is when mom can take some time for herself. This is the usual story of most of the moms. And what happens when we don't include ourselves and our needs inside of the structure, when we are refusing structure, it happens that we disappear from our own life. And then we say, I'm burnout. Of course we are burnout. We build a system that works for everyone except us. And structure itself isn't about being perfect or performative. It's about living in harmony with your needs. It's about building a life that doesn't ask you to break down to survive. And my structure, when I look at it, the way my life is organized, from the time I know for myself, especially I was enforcing those structures more and more when my son was small, my structures, they support my dignity. My structures, they're giving me space to feel things without reacting. Because when I have predictable steps, when I know what is coming and what I need to finish and what is next on the to-do list, I don't get overwhelmed. I don't procrastinate. I finish the tasks because inside of my structure, I already dedicated the space when I'm going to be lazy. So I finish all of the things and then I just get lazy. So I don't need to procrastinate the tasks because I already planned to procrastinate during my lazy time. How my son and I tend to call it lazy time. Today will be lazy time. So I am planning most of the things in my life around preserving my energy, around avoiding reaction, friction in day. And this approach is basically giving me time to breathe before I burn out. It holds me so I don't drop everything I'm carrying. It's basically supporting me in my life. And that's not control. That's intentional self-care. When you create structure in your life to support you, you are basically planning intentional self-care for yourself. So for the end of this podcast episode, I want to encourage you. I want to give you permission. I want to extend you invitation to start building your life around what is supporting you, not what looks good outside. What is giving you time, what is giving you energy, what is giving you clarity, not what you think it's supposed to be or not what somebody else is doing. Design your days in a way that lets you move with grace, not with guilt. Design your days around everybody and around yourself. Don't exclude yourself from the structure. You don't need to prove anybody that you are perfect mother. You just need to stop abandoning yourself in the name of being flexible, of being adjustable. You just need to stop performing outside and start building the structure inside of your home that will support you. Start looking at your days. Start looking at what are you doing every day. Where is your energy leaking? Where is your time leaking? Is there a way you can organize it better? Can you combine the tasks? Can you accumulate the tasks? Can you preserve energy in some way? How can you include yourself in the structure, in routine with your children? Can you do some things for yourself while you're doing the things for your children? Can you make your meals easier? Can you bring yourself back dignity with intention? Can you plan yourself in every day? And structure will not steal your freedom. Structure will give you back your breath. Structure will give you back what you've been missing all of this time. Because overwhelmed is coming from overwhelm of the tasks. And overwhelmed is one of the most used sentences of motherhood, or not sentences, expressions or words of motherhood. I am overwhelmed. Overwhelm happens when we have a lot on our plate without clear structure, how to execute these things. So the more you structure yourself, the more you planning your days, the more you organizing everybody around yourself and planning the time for yourself, the less overwhelmed you will be. And less you will say, I don't have time for myself. Because when you start creating structures, you will include yourself inside of those structures. That will be it for this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed. I did. And yeah, that's it. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a blessing one, lovely one, sunny one. And we talk next Sunday in the new podcast episode. Bye.